By the authority given in the statutes of the Open University, I declare this congregation open for the conferment of degrees and the presentation of graduates. Distinguished guests, graduates and friends of the university, it is my privilege and pleasure to welcome you to this, the fourth of the Open University degree ceremonies being held in 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding to welcome the President of Ireland, Michael D Higgins, and his wife, Sabina Higgins. I now call upon Mr. John Darcy, Director of the OU in Ireland, to make a formal welcome.
President, Pro-Chancellor, Pro-Vice-Chancellor, graduates and guests. 2019 will always have a special place in the hearts and memories of each of our graduates today as they cross the stage. And 2019 is also a special year for our university as an institution, working across many nations as we celebrate a remarkable 50 years since our foundation in 1969. But for all of us at the Open University in Ireland, 2019 is truly a landmark year as the President of Ireland, Michael D Higgins, joins us to celebrate your success as students and the contribution of our staff, particularly here in Ireland, but also across England, Scotland and Wales, who have brought barrier-breaking, inclusive and innovative higher education directly to people's homes over the past 50 years. Before becoming President in 2011, President Michael D Higgins enjoyed much success, and he had a huge impact across this island as a published poet, a member of both houses of the Irish legislature, and as Minister for the Arts, Culture and the Gaeltacht from 1993 to 1997. He was also both a university teacher and a broadcaster, and this match of skills was at the heart of Harold Wilson's idea for a University of the Air, using broadcast technologies to bring higher education to people wherever they lived or wherever they worked. So it is most fitting that with that background, we welcome the President here today. My first interaction with Michael D Higgins was through his columns for Hot Press magazine, where he had a unique approach of bringing the prominent social and political issues of the day to an audience that would primarily have been interested in music, particularly music from Ireland, with artists like Thin Lizzy, Christy Moore, Horslips, Sinead O'Connor and the Cranberries, to name but a few. A wonderful way to bring social issues to new places, to open minds and to enhance public conversations about the issues that impact the lives and the futures of people from Kerry to Derry, from Coleraine to Cork. His 2016 book, When Ideas Matter, is totally compatible with the Open University's mission of being open to people, places, methods and ideas. And of course, the President's concerns and recent speeches highlighting climate change resonate strongly with the Open University's award-winning co-productions with the BBC, programmes like Blue Planet 2, and most recently, of course, Blue Planet Live. Pro-Chancellor, Pro-Vice-Chancellor, graduates and guests, it is both a pleasure and an honour to introduce Uachtar an na hÉireann, the President of Ireland, Michael D Higgins, this afternoon. President, we look forward to your address.
A cóide in gédal sias is minlam na wikas criúla gwaal le vasacht an firkin fólse, a dara shifrum hen is ref ma van kele saivin. Mar tugan sé sauce of special to do an event or deantan who kun kiluri an of live. A sagt an 8% agus 8 oberle kele, a tadjantaki kun urgaliacht a winnamak, agus is deshi a hentis a hurt an takiert, a vurshiv o o'r glân partneri ys fostori fiw, agus is min la mandesh a hapo kun ma, kun trislu leis an Open University tarishan la kiat blin quake blin an vod at a bwynch mak age. Pro Chancellor Malcolm Sweeting, Presiding Officer Professor Hazel Reimer, graduates and dear friends. It is a very great pleasure for me as President of Ireland to join you here today, together with my wife, as we celebrate together your significant achievement with the Open University. And may I say to all of you, you deserve this moment of formality, as well as you deserve also the celebration which will no doubt follow it. But I do want to thank John Darcy, Director of the Open University in Ireland, for his kind words, and indeed for the invitation for me to join you today for this public ceremony, which acknowledges that after years of study, you have met the required standards to be awarded the degree or diploma that you set out to achieve. And I so very much want to congratulate the Open University on its 50 years. I remember it very, very well. In 1969, in 1968, I was at Manchester University, and in 1969, I received my first permanent post in the National University of Ireland in Galway. But I congratulate this gathering today, and as I have already said in Irish, I'm not confining my congratulations to those of you in gowns. I also congratulate those family members and partners and husbands and wives, children, friends and work colleagues whose encouragement, support, and I know at times patience and forbearance helped you all to get over the line. Tres lim live Eliog, I so congratulate you all. Indeed, as you have heard in a previous incarnation, I spent many years as a lecturer in National University of Ireland, Galway, or UCG, as it was known when I started there. And I have to say that when I look back at it, this was one of the most rewarding periods of my life. And the relationship between, to have the privilege of being a university teacher and of interacting with students is one of the great, great privileges that one can have. And it's one that I have had in Ireland and in England and the United States and elsewhere. But I should say too, is relevant as the group that I'm speaking to this afternoon, is my own position path to what I've just described, and indeed my current position was not by any means any foregone conclusion. I was the first member of my family to have the privilege of progressing to third level education. Half of my family had emigrated to England in that period between 1955 and 60. And both the time period and the place where I grew up in the 50s and early 60s, it was not the norm for people to have such access as would enable them to do the leaving certificate, let alone progress to third level. We should remember that it was only in 1947 in Northern Ireland and 1966 in the South that free secondary education was introduced. And we always should remember what a significant emancipatory decision it was, that for the first time now provided a pathway for so many more people to have access to and finish secondary school and allow them a platform from which to progress to third level. And as I say these words, one of the great advantages of the Open University is that there are so many who in fact have ended their participation at half point through that secondary level experience, and the Open University allows them to resume. For of course it is such an absurdity to suggest that unless you have availed of your educational opportunities within a very limited part of the life cycle, that you've lost them forever. It's something that offends the very concept of education and intellectual formation, and that is why people should really be learning until they draw their last breath. But prior to that emancipatory decision that I have described, free secondary education of those who did get to do the living, only a few could aspire to third level. And there was a very strong social reproduction factor at stake there, something that today, when you analyse the professions in Ireland, you can see it very, very clearly. And there were costs even associated with being called to the training college for national teaching, deposits required for the sheets, for example, that you would use while you were being trained for the 2 years. And I think this, therefore, if you like, the civil service, the semi-state companies, or new jobs in the industrial estates and factories that were now beginning to emerge, were the options that were available to the vast majority of the young. Between 1955 and 1960, there is no year that less than 55,000 people do not leave Ireland, mostly for England. Altogether, in 5 years, 250,000 people. What would happen if you had done the leaving and were part of that population is that you could get a book called Guide to Careers, published by the Irish Independent, and it had all the closing dates for the applications for library services and for all of the different forms of the half civil service that were available. I remember at that time becoming acutely conscious of the unfairness of it, and that despite having a good living certificate, poverty for so many would act as an impediment to anybody who had a desire to teach. And the instinct to teach, to want to teach, is something that is one of the greatest gifts that a person can have. And thus, after a period working as a clerk in a factory in Shannon, I started work with the Electricity Supply Board as a grade 8 clerk in Galway. At that particular time, you were encouraged to do correspondence courses for the different accountancy professions. And therefore, that more or less, there was a kind of a certain pattern that developed. There was a demand at that time in Galway by many of those in my position for night classes. There was an actual advocacy for the time. They were available in Dublin and Cork, but they weren't available in Galway. And then, due to an act of generosity, within a few years, an opportunity arose for me through writing to attend University College Galway as a mature student, although not as mature as some of you, I would venture, because I was 21. This was a defining point for my life, in some ways a chance opportunity, but one which exposed me to a world of learning that was simply not available for so many others of my age and background. And I think that my studies in those early years encouraged me, within me, a curiosity and hunger to understand how the world worked, and it equipped me with the language and the intellectual tools that might later, however, inadequately interrogate it, and to imagine how it might work better, achieve equality of educational opportunity. And we should never forget how the Open University concept comes into being after people, without consideration as to class, had been called upon to serve in war and defend their country. The intellectual exercise and mind work involved in studying, discussing, and debating fed my interest in the world around me and in all the possibilities that I saw for how we could create a better, more inclusive, fairer society for each other, and it set me on the sometimes meandering path that I have followed since then. For me, it was a time spent in conversation and debate with fellow students, tutors, and lecturers that helped me to form thoughts and views. And I have to acknowledge my debt as well to something that sadly is disappearing from the universities, the valuable component of eccentricity. I think that it is necessary in any university to create, if you like, that space and where the imagination flies beyond the rules and demands of the syllabus. I think as well that conversation as well that I mentioned after my appointment in 1969, we had a debate in the university as to expanding outside the walls of the university, with some traditionalists saying, is this kind of thing something a university should be doing? And it was the intake of staff in 1969 that a number of us said in the end, we're going to teach these courses. And I taught extramural courses in Roscommon 2 or 3 nights a week, and in Donegal and all over the west of Ireland, with the number of all of these new staff who had been recruited to handle the huge intake that had come as a result of free secondary education. I had come back from Manchester, I said in 1968-69, and would continue to in and out of there to 71. But I remember the debate about the Open University very, very clearly, and what it was offering in terms of democratic inclusion and the right of everyone to have ideas that were informed and to be part of the formation ideas that would influence decisions that would be taken in their life. And I am so glad that the Open University encourages students to work together and to come together for tutorials and group sessions where those valuable discussions can take place and where you can help each other to shape your understanding and to test your assumptions. Most recently, I've been responding to a new piece of work in relation to the sociology of resonance and how people resonate with the world, how you take the world into you and how you in fact participate in the world and resonate with it in its complexity. And much of this cannot be done as a totally private experience, but is assisted by what is shared with others. Education in Ireland or anywhere can also be understood, must be understood, I believe, in its societal context. Undoubtedly, the Irish experience at primary and secondary levels is admirable and praiseworthy in so many ways. However, like the broader society in which it resides, it contains inherent biases and tendencies that can serve to predetermine educational outcomes, depending on where and how the child enters the formal system. More recently, I've been speaking about the socialization of very young children, as to whether they are encouraged to see the world that they're entering as a world of opportunities or as a source of fear with things to be avoided. And that tells us in many ways the great contribution that the Open University has in having an egalitarian approach towards life and a world that is genuinely shared. And wouldn't it be a wonderful achievement of any state, of any republic, if all children started with an equality of resources and opportunities in education? For when it comes to progression from second level to higher education, there are so many factors that can help to determine if and when any woman or man will pursue further education. Finances, social expectations, and family circumstances, they are obvious influences, but so too is the individual's disposition, readiness or self-confidence to start an academic course. I remember as a very young teacher realizing very early on that in relation to students, it's great to have the army to help you. But thank you, Congress. I think what is very, very important is that the sense of strangeness. We would find, for example, we offer tutorials for the first time then, and really if a student got past Christmas, the dropout was in fact actually much less. And what that was really the sense of strangeness. There are some people coming from class circumstances where it is perfectly natural to flow into these settings. There are others of which there is that barrier of strangeness to be overcome. And after the first term or two, people would be all right. But this is so important. This is the importance of the Open University, giving opportunities back to people Most of you have come to further education, perhaps, later in life. And at the risk of transgressing GDPR rules, I understand that the biggest cohort of you in your 40s, followed by youngsters in their 30s, and a few child prodigies still in your 20s. But what you have all in common is that each of you have accepted the personal challenge of pursuing a third-level course when the time was right for you. And it is an exercise in curiosity for the world. It is not necessarily simply a tactic to make yourself more useful for the expectation of others. It is about the benefits of an encouraged curiosity and the compassion and care and concern that will flow from it. Some of you are receiving postgraduate qualifications. I've met you already and congratulated you. And for others, today is the culmination of your first third-level educational adventure. May you have many more. And many of you had not studied since leaving school and may have harbored doubts in your own abilities to succeed or to see it through. So today is a vindication of your belief in yourselves and of the faith kept by those closest to you. And I congratulate you all on having the courage to commence your studies and the discipline to carry them through to completion. And the structures and support of the Open University have been a wonderful fit for your circumstances, allowing you to shape your studies around the other demands on your time. And there's another advantage the Open University has. It is better able than many universities to be able to interact with the changes that are taking place. For certainly it is not a case of some inevitable accelerated modernity that is happening in the world. It is the challenge of understanding change and being, as Raymond Williams put it, the arrow, not the target. The Open University is powerfully placed for that, and I have no doubt whatsoever it will be even more important, as literally every one of the subjects that I have mentioned will be redefined in the next decade or 2 decades. They will not be the subjects as many of us learned them or taught them. 50 years ago, the British Labour Party Prime Minister, Harold Wilson, had a vision of inclusive education that would radically transform the third-level sector. The proposal that working people and those without paid employment, no matter where they lived and no matter what their family or financial situations were, would be given access to the highest standard of academic scholarship through participation in higher education. That was nothing short of revolutionary, and I repeat that word again, emancipatory, and a powerful contribution to participation. Flexibility then and well-designed student support, coupled with innovative methods of teaching and course delivery, have seen over 2 million graduations in the past half-century. What a contribution that is to democracy. And with current enrollment at almost 175,000 individuals, I prefer to say 5,000 citizens. The Open University is now one of the world's largest universities, and its open admissions policy has removed a real impediment to so many who would otherwise find it difficult to meet the entry criteria for university courses. Over the past half-century, the Open University has become more and more engaged across Ireland, with over 40,000 qualifications having been achieved in that time. And the opening of its Advice and Inquiry Centre here in Dublin in the mid-90s has been followed by the very fruitful collaboration with the Higher Education Authority, the Psychological Society of Ireland, and RTE. And I believe, frankly, in the next decade or two, as discussions open up into the global world, you will find people as well, as I have said, acquiring skills not simply as a matter of being useful to other people's designs, but it will constitute the property that they will negotiate with the rest of the world. It will be part of their negotiation with participation in life. Open University's provision then of Irish-focused modules is so much to be applauded, including the module launched last year on the Good Friday Agreement and Irish 101, an introduction to Irish language and culture, which is a joint collaboration with Dublin City University and the Irish government, and then another module, Languages of Ulster, which was so co-produced with BBC Northern Ireland, exploring our linguistic heritage, our diverse linguistic heritage, covering Irish, Ulster Scots, and the distinctive strand of Ulster Hiberno English. An all-island collaboration between the Open University, Enterprise Ireland, and Invest Northern Ireland, Open for Growth, has developed distant learning resources for growing companies across the island, and these initiatives are all part of what it can be achieved through the Open University. They are vital in encouraging north-south and east-west cooperation and the giving of mutual support, and they will be ever more valuable as we move forward. And thus today's graduates, Kim and Lane Hume, the range of subjects that you have studied is impressive in its breadth and depth, from philosophy to engineering, reminding me that philosophers and mathematicians were one in the most significant areas in the history of scholarship. Subjects interact with each other. Social work to medicinal chemistry. The Open University has enabled you to pursue those fields that are of most interest to you and engage you immediately and of most relevance to your lives, and will be platforms to other things that you will do. And the benefits of tutor support, distance learning and open learning, a free educational resource, provides a very democratic approach to third-level studies, one that has allowed over 80% of Irish Open University students to undertake their studies while working. Universal access to courses, and how I wish that word would come back into current usage, universality. Universal access to courses is enabled by the Open University's emphasis on accessibility, its focus on helping to meet the needs of students with the additional challenges of having a disability. It is not surprising then that the Open University is so progressive in this regard, as it is consistent with its philosophy to systematically remove barriers that have prevented so many people from fulfilling their academic potential. This influence of the Open University ethos on the broader third-level sector has been remarkable and valuable. Universities now routinely offer distance learning, provide alternative routes to enrolment to their courses, opening them up to students and backgrounds not traditionally represented among student populations. Over 800 universities around the world now offer open online courses, although I have to suggest that I see this as a partnership, not a replacement. Much of this is a direct result of the public service ethos of the Open University and its genesis within a positive state intervention in the education sector for the public good. It's a real contribution to the restored concept of the public world, a public world in which you have total open participation. And notwithstanding the challenges that it faces, which are common to so many of our universities and third-level institutions, the Open University can look back with real pride in its achievements over the past 5 decades. And you who are graduating today are aspects, manifestations of that success. Agus na léin Abrasar, I am confident that the Open University has a bright future, gan I roig leis santáki, and it will continue to innovate and find ways to attract and support students like you who are searching for academic excellence. Tris líimle vis gwym gachragus banach gachrad a meg siúleg an Open University sna bliantas na ceirt in the decades atá. And may I especially commend the Open University for its inspired decision to honour Stephen Ray with an honorary degree. Stephen Ray has made such a vital contribution to arts and culture across these islands in so many ways. Is malame tres liam leis, agus gen cogortacus leis. He has my heartfelt congratulations. But this is not the end for any of your students, but rather a staging post in your lives of ongoing learning. Agus sé magui, my hope is that the knowledge and skills that you have acquired will serve as platforms to enable you to achieve your goals and encourage your curiosity and all the contrariness that goes with it, and better equip you to be constructive, active, and engaged citizens, engaged in your communities, in the challenges that we face together, and aware of the contribution that each of you can make to forging a better shared future for us all. Enjoy the formalities of your occasion, but also enjoy the human satisfaction which you and your families must feel at what you have achieved through your effort. Agus mar Uachtarán Éireann as President of Ireland, I wish you well in all that you do. It's gone a week as reached an Open University. I thank the Open University for its contribution to education, for its remarkable achievements since 1969. Garamila Mahaki Ilya Gisperbana. May I wish you every good wish for the future. Thank you.
President Garamila Magat, thank you very much for your inspirational words, your support for our new graduates today, and for your groundbreaking work as President of Ireland. Your vision of inspiring people to achieve, of engagement with all communities, of recognising our responsibilities as global citizens and acting to protect the beauty and resources of our planet resonates strongly with all of us here today. There are many challenges facing Ireland and the United Kingdom at this time. However, your outreach and positive engagement between heads of state, politicians and citizens on these two islands provides a positive foundation on which to enhance the civic, political and personal relationships between the peoples of Ireland and the United Kingdom. The Open University uniquely links both these islands, north, south, east and west, and across Scotland, Wales, England, Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. We look forward to our next 50 years, fuelled by your good wishes to help even more people, wherever they reside, whatever their personal, work and family situations, to achieve their full potential through education. I would now like to present you with a small memento of your visit to the Open University. Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding for the departure of President Higgins and his wife Sabina Higgins.
Wow, we don't always start that way. But quite a start to the proceedings, wasn't it? Ladies and gentlemen, continuing with today's proceedings, it is my great pleasure to welcome our honorary graduate, Mr. Stephen Ray. We're delighted to be able to honour him today. During the past year, the Open University has awarded over 20,000 qualifications, ranging from a Certificate of Higher Education to Doctor of Philosophy. Throughout 2019, more than 7,000 graduates are being presented for their qualifications at degree ceremonies such as this one today in Dublin. These are being held in 10 different towns and cities throughout England and also in Belfast, Cardiff and Glasgow. This illustrates the extraordinary scale, scope and reach of the Open University. And it goes without saying that today is a very important occasion in the life of you, our graduates, your families and your loved ones, as well as the university staff, who I hope you'll feel have nurtured and supported you on your journey. So, you could be forgiven for thinking that the occasion is so important that you need to be very solemn, and you'd be quite wrong. This is, after all, the Open University, and in every sense of the word, this is a day of celebration. So, I'm personally going to be really disappointed if anyone crosses this stage to anything less than the most thunderous applause. or however you want to celebrate your graduate and celebrate and express your enthusiasm and support. So with that in mind, shall we practice? Why don't all of today's graduates briefly stand? That's you guys at the front with the gowns on. Friends, family and Open University staff, let's start today's ceremony by giving all our amazing graduates a huge round of applause. There's one more way you can show your appreciation of your graduate. If you post messages or photos on social media, and yes, you can do that during the ceremony, it's okay, use the hashtag OUFamily to share congratulations and celebrations with the world outside as well as everybody here in the ceremony. We will start with the presentation of those graduates who have gained higher degrees and first degrees of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Engineering and Bachelor of Laws, and have been able to attend here today. They will be presented by Mrs. Heather Laird, Assistant Director, Student Services at the Open University in Ireland. Then we will see the awarding of the honorary degree of Doctor of the University to Mr. Stephen Ray. Mr. John Addy, Assistant Director of Planning and Resources at the Open University in Ireland, will present Stephen Ray, who will then sign the honorary graduate book here and make a reply. We will then continue with the presentation of graduates with those who have gained Bachelor of Science degrees, foundation degrees and diplomas of higher education and have been able to attend here today. They'll be presented by Mr. Simon Gregg, Senior Manager, Student Recruitment and Learner Support at the Open University in Ireland. To conclude the ceremony, I'll give a personal address to the graduates. I now call upon Mrs. Heather Laird to present graduates.
Pro-Vice-Chancellor, I shall now present graduates who have gained higher degrees and have been able to attend here today. I present to you for the degree of Master of Arts in Classical Studies with distinction, Catherine Adams. For the degree of Master of Arts in Creative Writing with distinction, Sean Cooney. And Niall McGrillen. Siobhan Scully. For the degree of Master of Arts in Creative Writing, I present Carmel Anderson. Aideen Ellison. Emer McElhone. For the degree of Master of Arts in Philosophy, I present Tanka Tembe. For the degree of Master of Business Administration, I present Andrew Burke. Debbie Kennedy. Anthony Long. For the degree of Master of Business Administration, Technology Management, I present Cillian Murphy. For the degree of Master of Education, I present Elaine Hines. For the degree of Master of Laws, I present Jacqueline Manning. For the degree of Master of Science in Engineering, I present Kieran Collier. For the degree of Master of Science in Medicinal Chemistry, I present Simon Chapman. Michelle Saunderson. For the degree of Master of Science in Professional Science, I present Regina Myler. For the degree of Master of Science in Science with Distinction, I present Catherine Reynolds. For the degree of Master of Science in Science, I present Kieran McManaman. Pro-Vice-Chancellor, I shall now present graduates who have gained Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Engineering and Bachelor of Laws degrees and have been able to attend here today. The full subject details are printed in the insert within the ceremony programme. I present to you for the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours, Chris Brown. Emma Coughlin. Catherine Fisher. Matthew Hardy. Edwin Hughes. Colette Ibbotson. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts, I present Jackie McMeel. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours, I present Kanika Sharma. Laura Jane Sheridan. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Social Work, I present Linda Driver. For For the degree of Bachelor of Engineering with First Class Honours, I present Simon Riggott. For the degree of Bachelor of Engineering, I present James Arthurs. Rimbidas, Dobie Dawins. Andrew Eaton. James Hill. Gerard Mulrennan. Geddes Redman. And Irvin Seramet.
Pro-Vice-Chancellor, colleagues, graduates, guests. Stephen Rea is one of Ireland's most distinguished actors. He has produced an astonishingly diverse and consistently outstanding body of work for stage and screen. His pioneering efforts with the Field Day Theatre Company have demonstrated the critical role that culture and the arts have in understanding and overcoming political division. Born in Belfast, Stephen read English at Queen's University before moving to Dublin for training at the Abbey Theatre School. Stephen began his career in the theatre, working on Freedom of the City with Brian Friel and Endgame with Samuel Beckett, as well as Professional Foul with Tom Stoppard for the BBC. He is part of an extraordinary generation of Irish actors, including Gabriel Byrne and Colm Meaney, who have collectively played such a significant role in global film and television. Stephen has a long-standing collaboration with director Neil Jordan, stretching back to his performance in Angel in 1982. This has resulted in leading roles in commercially successful and critically acclaimed films, including Michael Collins, The End of the Affair, and Interview with the Vampire. Jordan also cast Stephen as Fergus in The Crying Game, which won the 1992 BAFTA for Best British Film and earned Stephen an Oscar nomination for Best Actor. Considering complex themes of gender and sexuality and set in the context of the Troubles, it remains one of the most significant British and Irish films of all time. Stephen has also had a successful career in television, winning plaudits for performances in Crime of the Century, The Shadow Line, and The Honourable Woman. Most recently, Stephen played Prince Vasily Kuragin in the BBC's adaptation of War and Peace, appeared in Black 47, the first film about the Irish famine, which has broken Irish box office records, and appeared in the latest run of Cypress Avenue at the Royal Court Theatre. In 1990, with the playwright Brian Friel, Stephen founded the Field Day Theatre Company in Derry, aimed at creating new audiences for the theatre and developing an artistic response to the Troubles. His first production, Translations, in which Stephen performed alongside Mick Lally and Liam Neeson, analysed the role of language in misunderstanding and miscommunication. The company went on to develop new works by figures such as Seamus Heaney, Seamus Dean, and Tom Paulin. Field Day has become a leading publishing company and centre for Irish cultural studies, making a significant contribution to scholarly research and political debate, as well as to the arts and culture. And to mark its 40th anniversary, Stephen and his colleagues plan a festival to honour contemporary literature and activism in centres of political turbulence and struggle around the world. Stephen is also an ambassador for UNICEF Ireland, particularly championing the rights of displaced and migrant children. Stephen Ray's career is testament to the broader social significance of the arts and the way that they can be used to open up dialogue on complex political issues without compromising artistic integrity. At the Open University, we are delighted to honour his exceptional contribution to the performing arts and to recognise his humanitarian activism. Pro Vice-Chancellor, by the authority of the Senate, I present to you for the honorary degree of Doctor of the University, Stephen Ray.
Well, enough of my paltry achievements. I want to actually congratulate all you people who've... I know, you see. Okay. Go back to Daddy, that's right. I just want to say it's so moving to be part of your graduation, and oh well. Anyway, it's absolutely fantastic what you've done, and I hope you go on to do so much more. The Open University is an inspired and transformative intervention into higher education, offering access to all who desire it without prejudice. Education is a precious right. Both my parents, like Michael D's parents, both my parents left school at age 14. Yet myself and two of my sisters enjoyed third-level education because of the enlightened attitudes that existed at the time. Of course, that has changed now, and everybody has to pay fees and land themselves in a lot of debt for something which should be their right. And I think it's because government is uncomfortable with social mobility, and they also like to accustom the young to a life of debt. I'm truly grateful to have been offered an honorary doctorate from this most democratic of institutions. I think it's the only way I was ever going to get one, you know. Actually, I was interested. Michael D. Uachtaráin na hÉireann was an inspired Minister of Culture, and some of my meagre achievements wouldn't have happened without him. He was responsible for financing films in the 90s, like Michael Collins. It wouldn't have happened if he hadn't done it. And on that occasion, we too had the assistance of the Irish Army, because they were all the extras. And I just want to mention a couple of things which I believe aren't getting the kind of privilege that we have all experienced, which is actually Niall Quinn has done a lot of work with Sister Mairead Hughes in Jobstown. It's called, what's it called now? Youth Horizons. Now, this is a very deprived area of the city, and 20 years ago, this wonderful person, Sister Mairead, went there, opened up 2 houses, and invited all the kids from deprived homes into the place. And without any assistance or funding, she taught these kids. And 20 years later, some of them have been to university, some of them are teachers. It's a magnificent achievement. And I don't know why the government doesn't attach people to her to learn how they can do this in a lot of other deprived areas. It's beyond me. Another thing that upsets me a great deal is a thing called direct provision, which we have here for asylum seekers, where they, they get placed in places like Mosney, or it used to be Butlins, and various camps throughout the country, and they maintain them in a way so that there's as little communication between everyone who's suffering direct provision to prevent revolution. And the appalling thing is that there are many young women, particularly, who've got the highest marks you can ever achieve in their Leaving Cert, but they can't move on to third-level education because they will be charged fees appropriate to being from a foreign country. Well, they live here, and I believe they should have the same rights as the people who live here. That's all. I want to thank you all again for this wonderful achievement, or this wonderful offer, and I hope the girls got back to their daddy.
Pro-Vice-Chancellor, continuing the presentation of graduates, I shall now present those who have gained Bachelor of Science degrees and diplomas of higher education and have been able to attend here today. The full subject details are printed in the insert within your ceremony programme. I present to you for the degree of Bachelor of Science with First Class Honours, Laura Kennedy. John Lawler. Mark Anthony Magro. Liam McGuigan. Kieran O'Sullivan. Deirdre Rocks. Craig Stewart. Zhuzha Zepeshi. For the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours, I present Marit Anala. Michael Brennan. Adam Svikla. Danny Gallagher. Richard Graham. John Hunt. Natalia James. Tig Jensen. James Keane. Julie Lee. Angela Layden. Nicola Long. Connell McGinley. Eugene McNally. Angeline McNeil. Barry Murray. Isabel O'Brien. Karen Quinn. Michael Smith. Marie Tobin. Andrew Truman. For the degree of Bachelor of Science, I present Gareth Hoggan. Sharon Keegan. Jason Marr. And finally, for the Diploma of Higher Education, I present Stephen Fay.
Wow, what an afternoon it's been. We don't usually start with the President, and I don't normally get handed a piece of basalt with olivine inclusions. Thank you so much. Some of you will know I'm a volcanologist, and I really appreciate this. So it's been just amazing, even very briefly, hearing some of the stories. People leaving school, as we were hearing earlier, leaving school at 15 and never thought that they'd be crossing the stage here with a degree. I know that many of you have studied under somewhat difficult situations too, but it's a huge privilege for me to be here to share the special occasion with you in Dublin today. It is actually one of the best bits of my job. And I do think that you are really, truly extraordinary people. You know that your individual story, but I wonder whether you realise quite how many other extraordinary people there are in this room with you now. So, graduates, can you put your hand up if you helped to bring up a family during your study? Okay, thank you. What about if you had any other caring responsibilities during your study, for older family or whatever? And how many of you were employed or did voluntary work of some sort during your study? Thank you. Well, quite a lot of hands raised there. So I rest my case. Extraordinary indeed, aren't you? And I didn't ask you at all about studying with any form of disability. But did you know that the Open University has over 25,000 students currently registered who have declared a disability? That's actually more students studying with the OU with a disability than most universities have students altogether. So from this day forward, you join an exclusive alumni club, one of more than 500,000 OU graduates across the globe. They, like you, studied part-time while they held down a job or brought up a family or cared for dependent relatives or possibly all of these. Not really part-time study, is it? Double time, triple time, something like that? So let me now tell you a little bit about the OU that you might not already know. We're 50 years old this year. We do like to celebrate that somewhat, as you will have heard. And it's 50 years of being in a class of our own. We're very proud to share the anniversary year with other things that happened 50 years ago. So, the first man on the moon, Concorde made its first flight, the first human eye transplant happened, Seiko sold its first digital quartz watch, and the first cash machine, or ATM, was installed in America. We've come quite a long way in 50 years, haven't we? But during this very special year, the OU here in Ireland has played a significant role in the cultural life of Ireland with several high-profile events. From a lecture on Blue Planet 2 at the Royal Irish Academy to public lectures with Engineers Ireland for youngsters and their parents, to name but a few events. Sharing the OU's learning far and wide is, of course, what makes our university so special. An OU qualification is something to be very proud of. Something well recognised and well respected. For half a century, the OU's impact has been phenomenal. From the oceans to the universe, our world-leading research has shaped understanding of the seas and skies. From life at the bottom of the ocean to landing on a comet. That's what our research staff have been doing, pushing back the frontiers of knowledge. And we've been able to share this new knowledge, not just with other academics, but with our students, and more importantly, perhaps, with the wider public through our broadcasts and free learning materials. And taking that knowledge into people's living rooms has been happening since the early 1970s. with the OU-BBC partnership, broadcasting thousands of hours of awesome programmes. In the world of work, we have a pilot business development programme with some 18 growing companies working with us, with Enterprise Ireland and Invest Northern Ireland. And this is all thanks to the generosity of Irish business people, recognising the contribution of the esteemed Irish businessman, Lord Haskins, a former Pro-Chancellor of the OU. 7 years ago, the OU led the way again in digital innovation when we set up a new platform for massive open online courses, otherwise known as MOOCs. We have delivered free courses to over 8 million learners globally through this initiative, and it's called FutureLearn. If you don't know about it, check it out, futurelearn.com. Many of the world's top universities now use our FutureLearn platform to host their MOOCs, and even some have online master's degrees there too. And of course, anyone can take their pick of more than 1,000 free shorter courses on our award-winning OpenLearn site. Lifelong learning, for free and on demand, is available at the click of a mouse from the Open University. Internationally, we're doing some wonderful work with those who need our help the most. Our Zambian Education School-Based Training Project, ZEST for short, sees the OU working with international partner World Vision to train 4,000 primary school teachers and leaders across Zambia's central province. Closer to home, the OU is working with police forces to train the next generation of police officers. And the opportunity for learning doesn't stop for people in prison. See the link there with the police, who want to turn their lives around. Changing lives is exactly what the OU is all about. So in graduating today, you become a member of a university that is a world leader in technology, in innovation, and in helping people to learn. A movement of millions, a mission of one. A university that believes where you start in life shouldn't limit where you go. Of course, there are a host of people who have contributed to your achievement today, from the advisor who handled your first inquiry, the academics who designed and wrote your course materials, to the student services staff who supported you when perhaps it felt like you couldn't go on. And of course, most of all, our amazing associate lecturers who guided you through your whole journey, culminating in you crossing the stage today. So let's take a moment to thank the Open University staff who have made this possible. Here's our representatives. But there is one thing that is harder than being an OU student, and that is living with one. We mustn't underestimate the incredible support you've had from family and friends to enable you to keep going with your studies. And how many times has it been an excuse that you can't do something in the house? So graduates, take a look around. See if you can spot your loved ones in the audience and give them a tumultuous round of applause. When you leave today, you become an ambassador for the Open University and all that it stands for. Please stay in touch. Join our alumni careers group, Toucan, on LinkedIn. Share your professional experience and make new connections. Try one of our free online courses. And maybe when you've had pause to recover, think about continuing your studies with us. I know some of you have already started again, and that's fantastic. You may have already been congratulated by members of our alumni team in the foyer. They'll be in touch with you to tell you about our Alumni Association and how it can offer you ways to get you, how you can give back to the university through our Open Up the Future 50th Anniversary campaign. And do also visit our Careers and Employability stand. Remember, you can receive free careers and employability advice for 3 years after you graduate. Do use it. But you know, we're really keen to know how the unique qualities of being an OU graduate, and you are all OU graduates now, how's that helped you in your careers, in your life ambitions, and in your personal development? The more we know, the more we can support those who feel nervous or unsure about embarking on part-time distance learning themselves. Graduates, you are a personification of the motto on our crest, learn and live. I hope you will feel able to give something back to the world filled with so many who are less fortunate. Make the most of this opportunity. Be an OU graduate who helps to realise opportunities for others. If we want a better world, redistributing opportunity is as important as redistributing wealth. You may feel that the strain of studying for your degree has added a few grey hairs, but we only grow old when we lose sight of our ideals. Eloquently summed up by the poet Samuel Alwyn, years may wrinkle the skin, but to give up enthusiasm wrinkles the soul. Remember, the spirit of youth pervades the OU, and it is a gift that you take away with you. I hope you stay forever young in your souls, generous in your hearts, and ambitious in your life goals. May I ask the assembled guests to congratulate these amazing graduates one last time. The proceedings of this degree ceremony have been completed, and I now declare this meeting of congregation closed. Would all of you who are able to, please stand.